welcome Matt and Kendall Hagee.
Hello and welcome to The Difference. On today's program, we're going to be talking about how you can turn the pain in your life to God's powerful purpose.
Amen. We have two powerful testimonies from our guest. And first, we're going to start off in the kitchen, though, with Stacy Lyn Harris. Will you please welcome Stacy?
Stacy, I have enjoyed all of the wild game recipes, but today we're going a little different direction. Tell us what we're talking about.
Well, I think Texas
Absolutely.
knows a lot about ribs. And so today...
Especially beef ribs.
Yes, so we're doing beef ribs today. And it's really quite simple, and I'm going to get you to help me.
I'm in it.
So what I want you to do
I'll enjoy some tea.
Yeah, you sip the sweet tea and let us handle the heavy labor.
I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in here, and I'm going to put a little bit in this because I'm going to be doing the ribs, which I'm just browning them.
Okay.
And I would like you to do sweating of the onions, the carrots, the celery. I did. We're going to sweat. Yeah. And you don't have to, so you should be excited.
I've diced them.
That's
How do you sweat them?
That's right. So I just want you to start dumping. You're going to dump this in, and then, yes, that's correct. And here you go.
Is that sweating?
We're going to sweat them. And what that is, you're just going to keep it on low heat. You're not going to saute them. And if you do, it's no big deal. Y'all, this is so easy. And really, mistakes make it make So no worries. That's right. That's right.
Perfect recipe.
That's right. And here you go. And you're going to sweat that. Then we're going to add this in just a few minutes. As soon as that gets a little moisture in it, I want you to add now a little bit of that, the garlic. Okay.
Okay. This is garlic or ginger?
Well, actually, it's ginger, but we're going to pretend it's garlic today.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
so we're going to
just for our viewing audience at
on
home.
Facebook.
It's going to be great. You know what? Seriously, you cannot mess this up. And we're going to be putting ginger in it, too, in just a second. We're going to put it in the gremolata.
Good for your sciences.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper on the ribs. And you just need to push it in, the ribs. Are you going to do this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
My hands are clean.
While I sweat the onions, have her salt the ribs.
That's right. So I'm going to salt the ribs. Yes,
And
salt
did you
the
just
ribs
buy this
and
in a
pepper.
package and it's all ready to go like this, or did you cut these yourself?
Well, you can do either or. I mean, it's cheaper. You could buy a whole, a whole cow. A lot of times, we have in Alabama, we've bought a whole cow and we split it between my mom and and us.
Okay,
but see,
now
since I have 7 kids,
I'm like,
you got 7 kids and a mom. Who wins in that deal?
Yeah. So, well, I might have to rethink this.
Mama, your portion of the cow is.
Yes.
So why don't you just come over
we're
for
gonna
dinner?
put this in here. That's right. And then while it's right in here, we're gonna just go ahead and salt and pepper the other side.
The other side.
All
right.
Now,
okay,
I have
so here you go.
sweated the onions, and I'm adding the garlic.
There you go.
Adding the garlic.
It's gonna be great. Seriously, it really is gonna be great.
Adding the
garlic.
Now, what I want you to do now is I'm going to show you. Do you know about herbs, fresh herbs?
Not
he
really.
does.
Okay,
well,
look.
we got some at the house. That
You
we
do.
did.
I saw you the last
We
time I was
do.
here.
We took some home and killed them.
Okay, so you're going to take one and you're going to come down the other way, just like that. You see how easy that is?
Against
but you know
the
what?
grain.
I always
Very
thought
good
you
against
just took
the
the whole
grain.
thing and stuck it
You
in there.
can. You just need to fish it out because nobody wants the.
Stems.
It'll give you the flavor, and then you're going to do a little bit of oregano as well. Hey, you want to try it?
I'll try
All right,
that.
perfect.
Don't forget to brown your ribs.
Yeah.
Well,
it takes a minute or two to get them to go. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a gremolata. Okay, have y'all heard of a gremolata?
Gremolata,
No,
what's that?
I have not heard of a gremolata. Now.
Okay, and you were kidding about...
Yeah, I've heard about pets you don't have to groom a lot. But,
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
This
but
probably don't
not-
have anything to do with like cats or anything. So.
Well, okay, so it's really just a fancy word for adding some herbs that just make this dish sing. I cannot help it, I have to say.
So this
it
is
just
a
makes
sauce
it
that
sing.
goes on the top? Or?
Yes, and I just take a big old bunch of parsley and just cut it up pretty small. And then I'm gonna add some ginger to the top of that, right here. And I cut a little piece off so that right. So I'm just gonna add it right in here,
Now,
and you
a
can
little
just.
of that kind of goes a long way. So.
It does, but hey, I like it yummy, and I like it to just really, really flavor it up. So I'm just gonna add right on top of that, and so I do it this way because you can see it and you can know how much to add.
Kinda
You
get
just
balance
need to
on it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, then you're gonna add an orange. 2 oranges, you could use the lime. You're just gonna get the top of the orange, okay?
Now
so
this is called zesting.
Very good.
So we have to zest
amazing.
We have to. Hey, I watch my HGTV.
Okay.
You can't learn this stuff on
very
TBN.
good
You gotta
cook.
flip the channel every now and again. So HGTV says this is zesting, and zesting is a part of making a gremolata.
Very good. And you're never going to forget that word, are you?
Never.
You're probably never going to let me live
No, every time I
down.
look at a long-haired dog, I'm gonna think about gremolata.
And
You should
so-
probably flip those ribs.
Okay,
Well,
so...
no, she didn't tell me
Well,
to
you're
yet.
just
Well,
watching
look on
too
the
much.
other
You can
side. Okay, is that
They're
brown
not
to you?
ready.
Okay,
No.
they're
There
not.
it is. It's in
No.
the oil.
Now, one thing to make it brown a little faster if you
Is turn
wanted
up
it
your
to
heat?
brown. No, well, you can turn up your heat, but butter instead of olive oil. You could just put butter in there, and it'll brown it a lot better. Okay, so butter
so
makes
what's
it
our
better.
next? So you
okay.
do that.
So I'm making this, and
Olive
then I'm
oil's
going to
for
also...
anointing.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and add... It looks like you've sweated real nice. Okay. Yep. You've been working so hard, it's just coming out in the dish.
Add
So
the
we're going to
whole
put the
thing?
tomatoes. I mean, yeah, that's tomatoes. And
whole thing
The whole
done?
thing. The whole thing. Oh, juices and all. Okay,
Juice
and
and all.
I would say to crush it with your hands because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But I won't.
Yeah.
It'll fall apart in the oven.
Well,
okay.
the
then
rest
you're
of the
gonna-
guests on the
There
show
you go.
today probably wouldn't appreciate that.
I know it. Ooh, don't get
So
it
then
on.
we
Okay.
so
that's
splash that
beef
sauce
stock.
in there. Beef
stock.
Beef
But
stock.
what I like to do is add wine to mine, and not cooking wine, but drinking wine. And I know that a lot of you might not have it in your houses, and so just use beef
But
stock.
call the
It's
neighbors.
fine.
They've got some and they'll
Yeah,
loan it
that's
to you.
right. And then they'll be over to eat dinner,
Yeah.
and it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so add the wine to it. It gives it an amazing flavor.
Flavor.
So I've got lemon and that I'm zesting now. But if you just have a lime in your refrigerator or just lemon, you can just do lemon. You can just do lime. And so it's pretty good.
You can take
got
these,
that.
you can
So
take
tell
these
us about
tomatoes and smash them up against the side of the
The
pot.
last.
That's right.
All right,
okay,
so once you
final
brown these and once this gets to cooking, how's this thing wind up?
all you have to do, look, I use my fingers a lot. Hope
That's
you
all right.
don't mind. Okay, I just wanted to see what that looked like on that side. Now, okay, I have garlic mashed potatoes and asparagus here. And so that's gonna be a mighty great meal. And then I'm gonna take some
that
of
and
this
put it on
I'm
top.
just gonna add it all over this, just like that. And it's just gonna
Okay,
be
so
absolutely amazing.
that herb gremolata is
Is the top.
right there, it's done.
That's right, I'm done. Yep.
So that's just a garnish
That's
on
it.
the top.
That's it.
So you
That's
brown
it.
these, stick them in the pot. How long does this sit on the stove?
Okay, you're gonna put that in the oven. Now you can simmer it on the stove. You can do so many things, but I put it in the oven
Okay.
for about an hour and I'm done.
All right.
And it's done. You're ready to put it on the plate.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Easy.
if this does not turn your home into the happiest place on earth around the table, I don't know what will. When we come back, we're gonna be sitting down and breaking down an entire story of a man who spent his life savings to help those he'd never even met. Don't go away. You're watching The Difference.
Dear Pastor Hagee, I just wanted to write you to say how honored Rayla Jean and I are to have been partners in your ministry all these years, and to see all the amazing things you've accomplished around the world with the gifts we and others like us have gladly given over the years. Furthermore, it has been so refreshing to see the younger generations coming on board to partner with you in spreading Christ's message to the world.
I want to welcome you both to partnership with John Hagee Ministries. Together, we will make a great impact for Christ around the world.
May God continue prospering you in all your endeavors, your dear friends, Ron and Rayla Jean.
I want to thank you, our Salt Covenant partners, for making it possible for us to preach the gospel to the nations of the world. Thank you, and God bless you.
Become a Salt Covenant partner today. Call the toll-free number on the screen or visit us online at jhm.org.
What you see is a child reaching for her mother. There is nothing more beautiful than for a child to know that they're loved. There are thousands of children who are reaching for someone who will not reach back because they're not there. This is the reason we're building the Sanctuary of Hope. I want you to help me help these children have a mother that will take care of them, that will love them, that when they cry in the night, someone will come. When they get hungry, someone will feed them. When it comes time to teach them the way of the Lord, that someone will be there. And together, with the Sanctuary of Hope, we can make this happen. God bless you for all that you do to make the Sanctuary of Hope a reality.
Help give the gift of life. Call the number on the screen or visit jhm.org.
Enjoy watching The Difference but want a more behind-the-scenes look? Learn interesting facts about our guests, comment on our segments, and find out more about the show by following Matt and Kendall on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep watching The Difference and follow us on social media to find out more.
Welcome back to The Difference. Our next guest is no stranger to the process of taking pain and turning it into purpose. Please help me welcome Mr. J.T. Olson. J.T., welcome to our program today.
Thank you for
Nice to be here.
Nice to be
It's so good to have you, and you know, what a compelling title. I love this insert that gives us a very distinct quote in your life from page 99, but the title of this book, it almost sounds like a novel, The Orphan, the Widow, and Me.
Yeah.
So tell us just, you know, what does all that mean?
Well, it's really a picture of how God can take something that's hard and difficult and turn it into something that's wonderful, that has purpose. Every time I tell the story of both hands, someone always comes up to me afterwards and says, "You should write a book." So we did, you know, and that's what it is. It's
and that's the subtitle, you know, paying it forward with both hands.
Yeah.
You know, people use that phrase, paying it forward, and they know that that means basically an act of kindness, but I mean, with both hands really puts some action to it.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it's funny the way it started too, and whenever I tell people what we do, because we help families raise money for adoptions,
Correct.
and we do it by working on a widow's house. But whenever I tell them what we do, they always kind of look at me with those, like, oh yeah, that's nice, but you know, they don't really understand it. And I found the easiest way to explain it is to tell you how it happened. I mean, I was on the board of Bethany Christian Services in Nashville, and one year it was my job to do the fundraiser, so I chose to do a golf fundraiser. You know, where you mail letters out to people and say, would you sponsor me while I golf?
Would you play in a golf tournament or you know, buy a hole? Or,
Yes. And I mailed my letters out, had a buddy of mine who I'm in a Bible study with, sends my letter back to me, but he doesn't send a check. Instead, he just he scribbles on my letter. He says, "JT, if you told me you were working on a widow's house, I might sponsor you. But you're just golfing. Nice cause, but not my money." Kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, you know, but at the same time, I thought,
he's got a point.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a pretty good idea. So I called him a couple days later, and we talked about it and laughed about it. He still didn't give me any money, but but the idea just never left me. Whenever I saw a 5K or a golf tournament, I kept thinking, if they were working on a widow's house, would that be more compelling? Would it have more to it?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I'm in church running into a friend of mine, hadn't seen him in a couple months, I said, "What's up?" He said, "I'm adopting 4 kids from Moldova." Well, he's already got 3 children.
Yeah.
I said, "What happened?" He said, "I'm over there. I fell in love on a mission with Sweet Sleep, delivering beds, fell in love with this little boy, and we were inseparable by the end of the week, and we decided to adopt him. In the process, we found out he's got 3 siblings. Wow. And Don looks at me, and he says, "We're not going to break up the siblings." Yeah. Well, that resonated with me. Yeah. Because when I was 12, I lived on a farm in northeastern Iowa. And one weekend, my mom and dad left to celebrate their 16th wedding anniversary. And us kids were kind of farmed out to different places. Yeah. And I remember Saturday night, we were being brought home. I'd played all day in the barn, so I was kind of dirty. I had to go down to the basement and change clothes. But I remember sitting in this chair, unlacing my boots, and my brother comes down the stairs. And I look up at him, and I say, "Are Mom and Dad home?" And he looks at me, and he says, "Mom and Dad are dead." And I said, "What?"
Yeah.
He said, "Mom and Dad are dead. They were killed in a car accident an hour ago." And I just know what it's like to be an orphan. Yeah. I know what it's like to hear those words. I know what it's like to wake up the next morning and think it was all a dream.
And then realize it's not.
And then with everything, you fight it to be a dream.
Yeah,
and you realize it's not gonna. Then you realize I'm never gonna see Mom and Dad again this side of heaven. But I also know what it's like to be rescued. Yeah. Because 3 months before the accident, my mom and dad changed their wills that with anything would happen to them, we would go live with my aunt and uncle, my mom's sister. They already had 3 kids of their own.
Mm-hmm. So you had how many siblings, or were their total going over? So 3 plus...
5.
5.
Yeah. So my aunt and uncle, who were 33 years old, had 3 kids of their own, had just started business a year earlier. They took all 5 of us in. Wow. So I know what it's like to have someone come up and say, we got you.
Yeah, you're with me now.
We got you. So back to the story with Don. He's in the hallway at church saying, we're not going to break up the siblings. I'm the just right guy to say that to.
Yeah.
Because
That's your story.
Yeah, I said, I wasn't going to sit there and tell him you're crazy.
Yeah.
I remember very clearly looking at him and thinking, this man is exercising a faith that I envy. I want to have a faith like that. You know?
And the book of James very clearly defines that as true faith. And true religion.
Yeah.
Because in so many cases, the individuals, you're mentioning raising funds for one group while helping another. Yeah. What a brilliant concept to be able to balance both sides of that scale. But at the same time, neither of them have a means to properly appreciate or repay.
Yes.
A widow cannot turn around and honor and distinguish those who have come to help her, and an orphan, he's got no means of repayment. Yeah. So when God looks at that, he says, when you do those kinds of acts and you do that kind of kindness in my name to people who can't repay you, people who cannot distinguish you in a way that brings honor to men, he says that's legitimate, genuine, true religion and faith. Now, a lot of people don't really know that there is indeed a very real financial hurdle to adoption.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of folks make up their mind and they want to say, I'll adopt, I'll bring a child into my home. But that's just the idea. The actual function of it's a much larger task.
The main reason more people don't adopt is because of that.
Correct.
Like in the hallway, Don, he says he's adopting these 4 kids. I say, how much is this going to cost? He said $65,000.
Yeah.
And I said, how are you going to raise it? He said, I don't know. And I said, I think I got an idea. And that's when the whole idea got together. He recruited some buddies. We all sent letters out. We fixed up a widow's house. We got everything donated. We didn't spend any money. And we raised over $70,000. And that's what people who are adopting need.
Yeah.
They need to have some
source of capital
to raise some money because it's just so expensive.
They've got willing hearts and hands, but there's such a cost that goes in the midst there.
Now, you also adopted.
Yeah,
we did.
And that kind of takes us to the line here on page 99. There are good statements and there are God statements. And that's a God statement right there. What's the story behind that line?
That was one of my watershed moments in life. We all have them.
Yeah.
But for years I had talked about, I was on the board of Bethany. We talked about adoption. I would come home from a meeting and my wife would say, how was the meeting? I'd say, oh, it's good, it is, and that. And there's 2 kids born at the neonatal down at Baptist. Oh, let's go see them. I said, wait, we can't go see them. We just started this business. We got nothing coming in, everything going out. We'd have to use our life savings. Do you want to use our life savings to adopt? Do you want to do that? And she'd get quieter down, and every month that would be repeated. Well, December 24th, 2001, she sends me on my annual task up to the attic to
get all the Christmas
to
stuff.
get the stockings to hang by the chimney with.
Why is it in the attic? Why can't it be on the first floor?
You need a Christmas closet.
Yeah. Well, I walk up in the attic and I look around and I just see strollers and high chairs and cribs.
She's safe.
And it dawns on me, I thought, we've got everything we need. And that's when it hit me. I thought, what's wrong with using a life savings to save a life?
Yeah.
And I went down the stairs. I met her going up. And I said, we've got strollers, we got cribs. And she thought I was going to say, it's time for a yard sale. Let's get out of this. Let's get rid of this stuff, But I just looked at her and I said, what's wrong with using a life savings to save a life? Let's adopt. She said, are you serious? I said, yeah. Can I tell the kids? And that Christmas, and she put a note at each one of their stockings. Next morning, they all woke up to a message from us about their new brother or sister.
Yeah. Well, and in doing that, you introduced a concept of ministry to the hearts of your children that lets them know that mom and dad's faith is not just a spoken faith, it's a real one.
Yeah. I mean, that's when it hit me. I thought, what's important? This isn't going to rust. This isn't going to blow away. This isn't going to burn.
Yeah. And it's true, you indeed did save a life because you've stabilized a future for someone who had none. You've provided for someone who needed it. And pointed an individual into the path of righteousness that leads them ultimately to the cause of Christ in their life, which, indeed not only saves their life here on earth, but gives them the opportunity to have one in eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Yeah. When we return, we're going to sit down with a man who also turned pain into purpose. He didn't set a captive free, he was the captive who got set free. After 34 years of imprisonment, you don't want to miss this story. We'll be right back.
What you see is a child reaching for her mother. There's nothing more beautiful than for a child to know that they're loved. There are thousands of children who are reaching for someone who will not reach back because they're not there. This is the reason we're building the Sanctuary of Hope. I want you to help me, help these children have a mother that will take care of them, that will love them, that when they cry in the night, someone will come. When they get hungry, someone will feed them. When it comes time to teach them the way of the Lord, that someone will be there. And together, with the Sanctuary of Hope, we can make this happen. God bless you for all that you do to make the Sanctuary of Hope a reality.
Help give the gift of life. Call the number on the screen or visit jhm.org.
Dear Pastor Hagee, I just wanted to write you to say how honored Rayla Jean and I are to have been partners in your ministry all these years, and to see all the amazing things you've accomplished around the world with the gifts we and others like us have gladly given over the years. Furthermore, it has been so refreshing to see younger generations coming on board to partner with you in spreading Christ's message to the world.
I want to welcome you both to partnership with John Hagee Ministries. Together, we will make a great impact for Christ around the world.
May God continue prospering you in all your endeavors, your dear friends, Ron and Rayla Jean.
I want to thank you, our Salt Covenant partners, for making it possible for us to preach the gospel to the nations of the world. Thank you, and God bless you.
Become a Salt Covenant partner today. Call the toll-free number on the screen or visit us online at jhm.org.
Our next guest left home one evening a high school football star. He ended up with a life sentence for murder that he didn't commit. Gene McGuire, you've got quite a story, sir. Welcome to The Difference.
Thank you, Matt and Kendall.
Now,
I'll be here.
You know, you're living an all-American teenage childhood, you know, got basically nothing but opportunity in front of you. What changed all that suddenly?
Well, I had a cousin visiting from out of state, and he wanted to go drinking one night, shoot pool, and I wanted to go. My parents said, no, it's too late, you can't go. I was a sophomore in high school. He was 24, I was 17, but we were out the door, we went around 11:30, and about 20 minutes into shooting some pool and drinking pretty heavy, he wanted to rob the bar, and I knew that I wasn't going to do that. It wasn't something I wanted to do, but it was my big cousin. I stuck around, and so we left, and he came back in, and in the process of robbing, he murdered the owner.
And because you're there, you're legally considered an accomplice to this act.
Yes,
part
of the robbery.
And so with that being something that occurred, you know, basically an unintended consequence, you find yourself standing in a courtroom, and the charge is murder, the sentence is life, and you're under the counsel of, as a 17-year-old, you're under the counsel of an expert in law who says,
public defender.
Yeah, your public defender. He says, plead guilty, and everything's going to, you know, work out in your favor. The gavel falls, and what did you hear?
I heard sentenced to life without parole, natural life. And prior to that, my attorney said that if I pled guilty, I could be out in 10 years on good behavior, which really wasn't true. It wasn't true.
It's just his way of getting this case over with.
Well, I think it was just a lack of information, lack of knowledge, and he was a young attorney, and that's what occurred. When I went to the prison, 18, to the state correctional institution, I met other life sentence inmates, and they were saying, hey, young buck, how much time are you doing? And I said, well, I'm doing 10 to 20. They got life, and they said, no, you're going to die in here. You're going to die like there's no parole eligibility. And so that process, you're just trying to live and survive.
Now, you're 17 years old. You hear a judge say you're going to spend your natural life in prison. How much pain enters your heart and mind and just being in that one sentence?
Well, I think at first, I still had hope of 10 years. 10 I really did. But when I got to the institution, I realized that I'm going to die in that place. It was painful. So I buried myself in the programs and education and just trying to figure out
How am I going to survive?
Yeah, how am I going to survive? Why is it a 17-year-old doing life? And all my friends went on to school and college and everything else. And then about 6 years into it, I started getting high and getting drugs into prison and shooting meth and coke and all that other stuff. And it was a lifestyle of just masking pain until someone began to witness to me and introduce me to the Lord. And on a weekend revival at the prison, and I attended. So
you're in prison. You start to engage in the hard side of life in prison, because there's certainly a tremendous amount of that element there. Right. And then suddenly everything changes whenever you hear the gospel behind prison walls.
I did, and I heard a man preaching that night, said Jesus died and rose again, and in him there's eternal life. And I knew what it was to have life. And when I heard that, he said, real men make commitments. Well, that whole weekend just enveloped me with love. And at the very last minute of the service on the third day, I went up front and got on my knees and said, Jesus set me free. And I was
so
born
you
again.
Changed your life while serving life.
Right.
And yet that story doesn't seem to change. What made that change?
Well, just serving the Lord. Larry Titus, pastor, befriended me and came in and became a father to me, and he visited me for 25 years. And so over the next 25 years, I had been denied by the governor commutation process and asking for a plea of mercy. I was denied, and I would go back and just give thanks to the Lord. Well, one day I heard the Lord say, I'm going to release you. It was at my 5th denial, and I got on my knees. I just felt broken, and I said, well, I'm going to die in here. And I heard the Lord say, I'm going to release you. And 2 months later, I'm back in the court. 20 months later, I'm standing before a judge, the same courtroom that I was sentenced as a 17-year-old. The judge said that I had been sentenced illegally, and he released me on the spot, April 3rd of 2012.
Wow. And so, through this process, you encounter Christ, you surrender your life to him.
Yes.
In the process of your pain, you start to give God glory.
Yeah,
I think that's something that a lot of people don't learn how to do in the midst of their struggle, is that whenever they're walking through those dark times, they have got to give God the opportunity to work through that pain. And yet he was faithful to keep the word that he had given to you, which was, you're free.
You're free. And yes,
and
absolutely.
that's the title of your book, Unshackled, From Ruin to Redemption. What are you doing now?
I work as a pastor for a company called Babe's Chicken Dinner House in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the Vineyard family, and also I go around, speak, and share my story, my testimony in the corporate setting, high schools, also rehabs. I was at a rehab yesterday in Fort Worth, and just love on people who are hurting and bring them from pain to purpose. And so God doesn't waste any pain, because Jesus on the cross proved that. So.
Amen. Well, each and every one of you have seen today how lives can be changed when you consider the purpose that God has in spite of the pain that you're enduring. I want you to know that not only can the individuals who have shared their story today make a difference in your life, you can make a difference in someone else's. God bless you, and we'll see you again very soon.